Hi everyone, Gemma here, thanks for watching today. So today is the 1st of March and we celebrate St. David's Day in Wales. David's Day is a feast and celebration to commemorate the patron saint of Wales, St. David. So in schools the children dress up and they pin daffodils to their clothing. So I thought I would create a daffodil inspired card using the spotlight stamping technique. So I have issue 240 of Simply Cards and Papercraft, and the exclusive gift is this lovely Dreamy Daffodils A4 stamp set. So it's got some lovely images. You've got a number of sizes and different details of daffodils there and some sentiments. So I thought this would be ideal for today's card. So I've gone ahead and I've prepared my items off camera. So I have a card blank that measures 10 by 7. Along the 10-inch side, score at 5. I've then got a piece of black cardstock that measures 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And that will sit nicely on there, just giving it a small white border. I've then cut a piece of white cardstock that measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then in the black cardstock, I've cut a piece of 3 by 5. And then in white cardstock, I've cut a piece of 2 7/8 by 4 7/8. So I have my two pieces of white cardstock here in my stamping platform. So I have the larger piece at the back and the smaller piece at the front. So I've centered that and I'm holding that in place with my magnets. So the stamp that I'm using is this stamp here. And I've placed that down so it sits sort of on the edge of this smaller piece. Hopefully you can see that. So it'll sit on this piece and then slightly hang over on the larger piece. So I think there's an alternative way of doing this. You can cut the same size cardstock twice and then stamp your image twice and then trim it down to the desired size. I've gone about this in a different way. It may be easier to do it by cutting the same size cardstock. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. So I'm going to be watercolouring my image, so I'm using VersaFine. So if I stamp this down, it should only stamp on the top piece. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to remove this piece now. And stamp my image again. So I'm terrible for having ink smudges on my work. I'm not patient enough to wait for it to dry. So I'm just going to set that with my heat tool now. Just so that I can place the smaller piece back on the card. So rather than moving my stamp, I'm going to flip around my cardstock and just line that back up in the same position. And then I'm going to line my image up on my cardstock so we've got a continuous design. And I'm just going to stamp again. So I've removed the smaller piece from the top of the cardstock and I'm going to stamp the image again for the 4th time. So I've got my 2 sets of images now prepared and ready to colour. So the spotlight image, if I just bring this back in to show you. So we're going to place the black cardstock there, and then you add that over the top. So we're placing a spotlight on this rectangle piece here. So we'll colour this image in and then we'll leave the rest black and white. So I'm going to use my Distress Oxides to colour in the image. So I'm not an expert in watercolouring at all. I just like to have a little bit of a play, and if I think it looks good, then I'm happy with the final result. So the colours that I'm using are Scattered Straw, Mustard Seed and Wild Honey. So I've got a water brush pen here. This is from Arteza. And all I'm going to do is just add some colour onto a block here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water to one section. You can use some kitchen towel to wipe off your brush if you wish. Remove any of that excess water. I don't have any specialised cardstock. I'm just using 300 GSM smooth white cardstock. I'm not going to be adding a lot of liquid to this, so this should be fine. So I'm just going to pick up some of the stronger colour there. Then I like to drag the colour out then towards the end. So we've got a lighter shade at the top and a more darker concentrated shade in the centre there. So I'm going to pop you on high speed now while I colour all the images in. I'm going to use the 3 colours there for the daffodils and mowed lawn and rustic wilderness for any of the foliage. So there's my panel all now coloured in. It's got some really nice shaded on there. I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. I think that's going to pop really well against the black and white panel now. So I'm popping it back into my stamping platform. I don't have a St. David's Day stamp. I could do a personalised message on my Cricut, but what I think I'll do, I'll put "with love" on the front, and then I'll add more of a personalised message on the inside of the card. I'm just going to pop that into the centre. And stamp with VersaFine. So now I'm going to start assembling the card. So I'm just going to attach my black panel here with some collal glue. I'm also attaching the white panel using wet glue as well. So I want these 2 panels to be flat, and then I'm going to pop the last 2 up on some foam. So I'm attaching my coloured panel to the back panel first. So I've added some foam pads to the back of the panel, and obviously I need to be really precise now with the placement of this piece. So I'm going to add some liquid glue just to give me that wiggle room. I'm just going to finish off with some Nouveau Vintage drops, and this is in Yellow Brick Road. So I've just done a check to the side of me to make sure that there's no air in the bottle, and I'm just going to place a few drops now around the sentiment. So there's the final card. I think it looks really effective, the coloured panel against the black and white panel. And I like the extra touch with the Nuvo drops there. I think this is a really quick and simple card to make, but has such an effective look. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, you might want to hit the like button, leave a comment, or consider subscribing to the channel. If you do subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future tutorials. Any products used in today's video will be listed in the description box below. Once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!